All right, everybody. On behalf of Professional Title, I want to welcome you guys to Prospecting 101, the class that everybody needs. Doesn't matter if you are new or experienced, or you sold a lot of houses, or you sold no houses, or you got a lot of letters after your name, or you've been in the business for 25 years. It doesn't matter. It is prospecting time. Those of you that were at the Prospecting for Buyers and Sellers class Wednesday, this is like a miniature snippet from that. So if you were there, thank you. If you were not there and you missed that and you guys like this, I actually would love to do that class in person again. I enjoyed it. I think we had some fun in there. And we had some people that took action right away and are already having some success, which is cool. So if you guys like this mini version and you like the Wednesday class, get with Cindy and tell her that I have to hold it, and she controls my whole calendar, my whole life, and she'll make it happen. So without further ado, let's dive in. The agenda today, we're going to talk about what it means to prospect and how you go about prospecting and kind of building your business. And then we're going to do 3 quick tips for buyers, how to prospect for buyers, and then 3 unique tips on how to prospect for sellers. And some of these, if you guys have been around me a lot, some of them you've heard, and we're going to dive in depth. Some of them you haven't. And I know a lot of them people aren't putting into action. So my goal today is when you leave here, you're going to get these 6 tips, but of course you're going to pick one. And I'll be nice today and allow you to pick one from the buyer, one from the seller side if you're really an overachiever. But you're going to leave here with the one action step that you can put into play to get some deals done. And really get to work. And one thing that is scary is that I heard the other day that we only have somewhere between 40 and 45 work days left in the year. And the 40 to 45 gap is, of course, because of that crazy week between Christmas and New Year's, where some people just like fall off the planet and disappear and don't do anything. So whatever you are, if you're a 40er or a 45er, we don't have that many days left. So it's time to do some prospecting so that we can get some now business, so that we can get Christmas, Hanukkah, Festivus, and Kwanzaa paid for based on the efforts of what we're going to cover and what we're going to talk about today. So I see a lot of new people on the call, so that is super cool. And I know some of you guys I recognize from our classes this week. So welcome. If this is your first time joining us, we do this every single Monday at 12 o'clock on Zoom, as long as it's not a big holiday. There's a good chance if there is a holiday, we'll still do one because I forget and don't own a calendar apparently and always miss the holidays. But my favorite thing to do is this, right? I love these Zoom trainings. I love our in-person events. Those of you that I don't know, I come from the real estate sales side. I ran the top team in the state of Florida for a long time. We did 40 to 50 closings a month, 3 years in a row. And then I ran what at the time, a couple of years back, was the largest real estate office in the state of Florida as well. So now I just get to do this and have fun and help you guys grow your business. All we ever ask is that if you get something from these classes that turns into a deal or a piece of business for you, that you give us the opportunity to earn that business at Professional Title. We have Cindy and Kent on the call, which are our awesome representatives from all over the state for Professional. So if you learned something today, make sure you get in touch with them. And if you're looking for some in-person learning, our COVID restrictions for our company actually just got lifted today. So we are looking forward to getting back in the streets and doing some big in-person events again before the end of the year. So get with them and we will see you soon. All right, let's dive in. Prospecting 101, the class everybody needs. What does it mean to prospect? I want you to type in the chat what prospecting means to you. What does it mean to you, or what do you think the definition of a prospect is? If you were with me Wednesday, don't cheat and tell everyone else this, but what does prospecting mean to you? What do you think of besides throwing up when you hear the word prospecting? Tell me what it means. Got 15 of you on this call. I'm not moving forward without an answer. Got all day. Going for appointments, good. Building relationships, good. Going after business actively rather than passively, good. Finding new leads, good. Finding clients, good. You're all right. No wrong answers here, right? Prospecting means all of those things. So when we look at the word prospect, we think about what it means and how we say it. Here's the real definition, right out of Webster. Search for mineral deposits in a place, especially by the means of experimental drilling and excavation, or to look for or to search for. And I don't know about you guys, but whenever I am going after buyers or sellers, specifically sellers, especially the last 2 years, it does kind of feel like we're doing some experimental drilling, does feel like we're doing some excavation. We're trying to dig something out of nothing, right? Trying to suck some gold out of the rock, whatever it might be. I know very often it feels like experimental drilling. It feels like something that we are working really hard to pull out And I get that, I understand that's just how prospecting is sometimes, but it's simplified. Yeah, it is to look out for, to search for. But at the end of the day, in my opinion, prospecting is just the definition of the responsibility of salespeople. If you are on this call and you are a real estate agent, if you are a title salesperson like myself and Cindy and Kent, if you are maybe a mortgage broker, a mortgage rep, it's all the same thing, right? We're constantly prospecting for new business. Cindy and I were lucky enough to have lunch with the guy that runs all of our title companies all over the place. So this guy's running literally a multi-billion-dollar company. I had lunch with us, which was super cool. And he said, we really have two kind of people out in the world in sales. He said half of them are actually just customer service people, right? We already have the relationship, or we gave the relationship to them, and they just work in customer service, right? They answer the phone when there's a problem, they solve stuff. And the other half are salespeople, right? They're actually out there doing things to earn more sales, to bring in new business. And that kind of opened up a different perspective on it to me. And he's a super smart guy and always kind of makes you look at something in a different way. And it definitely did that for me that day. And I just want you to think about that in your real estate business. A lot of us, right, we become customer service people. We are constantly just servicing or working on what we got. But how often are we out there prospecting? How often are we out there excavating for new business or doing some experimental drilling to try to pull new people in? And the truth is, most of us are not there that often. And when we look at our income, a lot of times it's tied to the fact that we're based more in customer service than we are in prospecting. So hoping to kind of change your approach on that a little bit today. And we did that a little bit Wednesday. And I really want to get you guys to the point where there's some piece of prospecting in your business every day. I'm not saying it has to be all day, every day. If you don't like doing it, I get it. But there does come a time where we have to do some things we don't like to be able to earn what we want to earn, right? If we want to earn more money, we have to be prospecting. So when you look at the history of prospecting, it's no joke that all of a sudden it came about and got big in the 1900s, right? That's when we discovered oil and gold and fossil fuels and natural resources and all the things that fuel our cities, our countries, our planets, our cars, our stuff. And then it's died off, right? Over the last couple of years, it's died off. And this curve is very similar with real estate agents, right? If you look at the origin or the history or the beginning of real estate agents, they had to door knock, they had to prospect, they had to stand in the town hall and find out who was looking to buy or sell, right? They had to do some work to prospect. And now we really don't do that as much. We hope stuff comes to us, or we wait for things to come to us, or complain when it doesn't, or pay for it to make sure it does. But we're not out there prospecting that much. And if you look at the teams and the businesses that are consistently prospecting, it's no wonder that they are atop the charts in pretty much all the measured categories. So when we talk about building a real estate business, I just want you to understand this truth, right? Because at the end of the day, if you want to have a healthy real estate business, mortgage business, title business, insurance business, property management business, whatever you're into, if you want to have a healthy one of those and you want it to grow and provide you a predictable income, you need to have a healthy business, right? And to have a healthy business, the truth is a healthy real estate business is prospecting based and marketing enhanced, right? It's not 100% prospecting. It's not 100% marketing. It's heavier prospecting and marketing enhanced. So when you look at a real estate business, I know this is a very basic slide or graphic, but I want you to think the base of this triangle is the base of your real estate business, right? If the base is prospecting, if you're consistently prospecting every day, your income will be consistent, your leads will be consistent. You can scale it very, very easily, right? And then as you have some success, you'll add in some marketing, whether that be free or paid. And then as you have some more success, then you could start paying to grow, right? This is the healthy bottom to top kind of real estate team model where you're prospecting based, marketing enhanced, and then you add some paid. And if you're doing really well and you want to add some sources, it's good to add 10 to 12% of your income back into lead generation to provide you more business. But you have to look at this and say, okay, if I want to have a stable, consistent business, I need to be prospecting based, marketing enhanced, right? When you look at this one, it's just flipped, obviously, right? But most people, this is how they start the real estate business. And 1% of them will stay on that point of the triangle and be able to balance, right? But for most of the people that start a business like this, they start in marketing, right? They start with Facebook and Instagram and a website and business cards and all that stuff that they think is important. And then they say, well, now I'll just add some leads, right? I'll just pay, I'll just buy them, I'll hire somebody. But the problem is without a prospecting foundation, they don't have that. They don't have prospecting. They don't have systems. They don't have models. They don't have tools. They don't have a track record of success. They have nothing. So when the prospecting gets added on, they're either already sick of the business and over and out of it, or they add it on and they hate it and it causes them to crash and burn or tip over because they don't have a solid business. So if you're looking right now and you're saying, okay, the year's almost over, I want to ramp up for 2022, what you need to do is ramp up those prospecting skills and activities, then add the marketing, then spend money, right? Don't go out and spend money today and then hopefully do a little bit of marketing and then hopefully do a little bit of prospecting. So let's dive into some unique ways that you can prospect for buyers and sellers. Let's start with buyers, right? 3 unique ways to prospect for buyers. I want to talk about the FSBO open houses first, because this was popular the other day. And this is a popular one that people still don't do, but it's an unlimited opportunity, which is good. And it's equal opportunity, unequal result, which is something that I like in real estate because it gives everyone a playing field, right? You don't have to have any money. You don't have to have any experience. You don't have to have a ton of time in the business to be able to do this and actually become successful. So what I want you to think about, one of the objections I always hear from agents is I can't do any open houses. I don't have any listings, or I work in a small brokerage and we don't have any listings, or all the listings in my big office are under contract, or they're going to the top agents, or, they're going to the listing agent. And by the time the buyer's agent or me, a secondary agent gets a crack at doing it, I can't because the house is already sold. So this is how you solve that problem with the FSBO open houses. Right, I was up in Volusia last week, Wednesday and Friday. And when we did some exercises with this, there was between 250 and 300 FSBOs on the market. So when you look at that, to me, that means there's an opportunity available every single day, right? It doesn't matter if you have listings or not. The only person stopping you from doing this really is you. And if you create a simple system, you can ensure that you can do one every weekend, right? You can do an open house every weekend for the rest of your career if you choose, or even every day. I know when I got started in the real estate business, I moved 1,200 miles away from anyone that I knew. And when I landed here, I had a couple bucks and that's about it, right? Nothing. I had my car, a couple bucks, and my real estate license. So I couldn't go with friends' listings, right? I didn't have a sphere or a database, and I just did open houses every day, sometimes twice a day, 6-7 days a week for 6 months or so. And then, then the pipeline never really closed, and still brings some things today. But you have to look at these opportunities and say, okay, this is something that I can do. There's an opportunity every day, right? It's scalable. It's something I can do really for free, which is always a plus. And you can do this as many times as you want, which is a plus. And if you really turn an open house into an event that people can't miss, you're going to grow a following, almost like a food truck does, right? Where people will come and they'll seek your open houses for experience, for fun, for knowledge, to be able to ask questions. So here's how you do this, right? If you want to do one of these, and we're going to spend the longest time on this one because I just want to make sure you guys actually get the opportunity to do it, because I know people aren't doing it because I haven't had anyone text or message a success story, which means it just isn't being done. So I want you guys to be able to do this. When you go on Zillow, right? I'm not usually a big Zillow guy, but for the purpose of this class, it helps. When you go on Zillow, you'll see the search bar, the buy box, right? And you'll type in there your county. So you might be in Daytona, you might be in Claremont, wherever you are, pick your county and type that in, right? Don't just do a city. It's going to be too small. You're going to type in your county, and then you're going to hit search. And on the top, there's going to be a red little light that says for sale. And when you click on for sale, you'll see a drop down. One will be red and be for sale. One will be yellow and say for rent. And then the other one I think is like purple and it says sold. And you're going to click on the one that says for sale, and it's going to open up another drop down window. And there's going to be a bunch of options in there. You're going to see new construction, pre-foreclosure, foreclosure, short sale. And then you're going to see buy owner. And we want to check the box that says buy owner. And we want to uncheck all of the boxes that don't say buy owner. Okay. And here's where most people stop. And truthfully, you can have some success here still. You then hit the search and it will spit out all the FSBOs that are available, all the for sale by owners that are available in your county. And you can click on the top one, whatever one that is. And towards the bottom, it's going to say this home is listed by owner, and it will show their phone number. And sometimes in the description that people will put their name or their business name or something, but usually it's just a phone number, which if you just started there and you really called every single one that was in the marketplace, you're going to grab a couple for sure. Right. But here's where I want you to think about taking it a step further, right? Find their name, go into the tax records, find their name, maybe find out how much they owe, learn a little bit about the property. And then every Friday, I want you to have FSBO Friday, right? Where you call all of the FSBOs Friday that are doing an open house for the weekend. So one of the other filters is in the more section in Zillow. Click on more and it will say tours, the word tours, T-O-U-R-S. And then it will say open house available or open house tour or open house planned. and you'll click on those, and then it will filter again. So now you have all the for sale by owners and all the ones that have open houses booked. And if you're following along and trying to do it now, that number might be a little light because it's Monday and people are lazy. They don't know if they're doing an open house yet. But if you do this Friday morning, like I'm suggesting, you're going to see a bunch with open houses, right? So you're going to call them and you're just going to say, hey, it's Ryan over at XYZ Realty. Saw that you're open house this weekend. I just wanted to confirm the time, 11 to 2. I have a potential buyer. Also would love to check it out or preview it in case I have anybody that makes sense. I'm going to come by, at that time. And you're just kind of opening up the relationship. And then over the weekend, if you have time to go to the open house or not, fantastic, whatever. If you do, great. If you don't, great. Truthfully doesn't matter if you go or not. But the money in this is in the follow-up, right? The Monday is where you turn this thing into money. So Monday, you call back the same people, all the same people that you called Friday. And you say, hey, it's Ryan over at XYZ Realty. I know you had an open house over the weekend. We had chatted Friday, and I just wanted to check in and see how it went. And in the history of real estate, there's never been more than 2 responses, right? You get one of 2 things. One, the person snaps back and they said, I sold it. I told you I don't need you. Don't need realtors. I don't need any help. I sold shampoo so I could sell this. I don't need any help. This thing is gone. And if that's the case, I hope you say, fantastic. Good for you. I'm happy for you. A lot of people are selling, great market. Hope you got a lot of money out of it. If you haven't selected a title agent, I would love it if you sent it over to Cindy or Kent at Professional Title, as they're going to be the best to get that thing closed for you. And we, of course, would really appreciate it if you do that. The other answer that you're going to get from people is sad, depressed, failure, right? You're going to call and say, hey, it's Ryan over at XYZ Realty. And I know we had chatted Friday and you were doing an open house this weekend. I just want to see how it went. And they're going to say it sucked. Right? If they don't say, we sold it, they're going to say, it sucked. I skipped little Johnny's soccer game or little Debbie's ballet, or I skipped church or worship or brunch or football or whatever the heck they skipped to do this open house. And it was a bomb. One person came in and they were unqualified, or no one came in, or I sat there and twirled my thumbs all day and it was such a waste of a day. Right? And you're going to say, oh man, I'm sorry to hear that. All the open houses we've been doing or we've been seeing have been 30, 40, 50 offers. Or 30, 40, 50 people, 5 or 6 offers. And I'm really sorry to hear that. It's tough, but hey, let me ask you this. Does little Johnny have a soccer game again next weekend? Yeah, every Saturday, 1 to 4. Fantastic. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to let me do the open house on Saturday, right? I'm going to come in there and I'm going to throw the best open house in the history of open houses in Volusia or Lake County that you guys have ever seen. All right. And if someone walks in, I'd love it if you pay me. I'll send you over a commission agreement. I know you don't want to pay listing agents. I get it. But if someone walks in and I sell you this thing, what will you pay me on the buyer side? Right. And then you negotiate your own commission. And you say, and at the end of it, if it doesn't go well, no big deal. I report back the feedback. We can build a relationship. And that way, if you ever do decide you're going to list with an agent, you at least know how I operate, how I work, and maybe we work together in the future. Maybe we don't, but at least it gives us the opportunity to open the relationship, gives you the chance to get to little Johnny's soccer game, and maybe we get this house sold. Right. A great opportunity to get in. And if you guys aren't doing this, I know a lot of people have such a limiting belief on this because they're saying, oh, the listing agent's not going to pay me. What if someone walks in and buy it? Who cares, right? There's not many things that you're going to be able to do that puts you in front of tons and tons of buyers. I don't know about you guys, but the open house market is still on fire, right? Open houses are still fantastic ways to generate business. I know I stopped into a house on Sunday and I got there 15 minutes early and I was 53rd in line. And by the time I got in the house, there was already 6 offers, right? This is happening all over the place. And it's happening in your market. It's happening in my market, right? It is happening everywhere. So you need to look at these things and say, okay, this is a great opportunity for me. Someone said in the chat, do you list these on the MLS? So you can only list on the MLS if you get a listing agreement. So good question. But what I would suggest is if you can get a listing agreement, even if you can get a 1 day or a 48-hour listing agreement, then absolutely get it on the MLS because that will help drive traffic. But you can list it on Zillow, Facebook, Meetup, Eventbrite, Facebook events. There's so many ways to drive traffic, but at the end of the day, the signs, and that kind of stuff is usually what drives the most traffic. So if you can get a 1 or 2 day listing agreement, absolutely. Right. But the goal here is we're prospecting for buyers. If I sell that house, great. If I don't sell that house, who cares? The seller didn't want to hire me anyway. But if I put 50 people in front of one of you guys, you're going to capture some of them, right? I know you're going to grab some of them and we're going to turn that into some buyer deals somewhere down the line. And a lot of times buyer leads are seller leads, right? Because people need to sell stuff to pay for stuff. All right. So that's number 1. Unique strategy, prospecting for buyers. Let's talk about number 2. Let's talk about the move up buyers, right? I want you to ask yourself these 3 questions and see if you know any of these people hiding in your database. Number 1, who bought too small? I don't know about you guys, but I know when I bought my first house, I bought one that was way, way, way too small. And everyone told me that I was making a mistake and I was smart because I'm 21. I had some money. So of course I'm going to buy it and do what I wanted. And like 6 hours into that purchase, once I was there, I said, crap, I bought too small, right? And I realized right away that everybody was right, but I didn't want to tell them that. But now I'll tell them that, right? And how many other people do that? They buy something that's too small. So this is a great time for them. Then I want you to think who you know that took advantage of COVID, right? And somewhere over the last 2 years, they did something different, or they started a remote business, an online business, or maybe did something that they just didn't have the time or the finances to do in the past. And now they did. So they made more money than they've ever made before in their life. For every sad story that came out of COVID, there's 10 good ones. So we just need to find those, right? And then I also want you to think of who you can find that's ready to upgrade, and how can we turn this into money? So I know in my area, there's like some trendy downtown areas. There's the beach areas, the spots that people want to live in, no matter if the market's good, bad, up, down, left, right, or sideways. And these are the prime upgrade markets, because what happens is most of the time people settle, right? Or they make some sort of a consignment, right? Or some sort of a contingency to get themselves in there. So maybe they want to live by the beach and they really want a 2-bedroom facing east, but they can't afford that, right? So they buy a 1-bedroom facing south. And guess what? Now these are the people that are gold, because if they bought the 1-bedroom facing south 2 years ago and you help them sell now, and they took their initial down payment plus all the equity they built up, and we then take that money and buy them something in the same building that now is 2-bedroom facing east, they're going to have more money to put down. And yeah, prices have gone up on both, but guess what? It went up on their sell too. So they're making up for it, right? But they're going to put that extra money down. And because rates now are lower than they were 2 years ago, 5 years ago when they bought, there's a good chance their payment is going to be the same, maybe even cheaper. And they're going to get to move, right? Their quality of life is going up. Their mental health is going up. And guess what? You get 2 deals, maybe even 4, because you have a sell first one. Maybe you get the buyer for that. And then you have a buy, and maybe you find the seller for that. So you have a great opportunity here to take advantage of these. So if I were you guys, I would look at your past clients. I would look in the tax records, find all the people that bought 1-bedrooms or 2-bedrooms or the lofts or the studios anywhere in like the last, I don't know, 10, 15 years, and find out if it's the right time for them to move up. Because for most of them, it is, right? They can move up for no expense outside of an annoying day's worth of moving. Other than that, they can move up and pretty much break even. So find those move up buyers, find the people that bought too small, find the people that made more money, and find the people that moved because they wanted the location. And now they have the opportunity to actually move up to what they wanted. All right, number 3, convert the renters now, right? The education is the opportunity with these people, because for a lot of renters, they still just don't understand. They just don't know, right? A lot of people think every renter has a sad story or bad credit or 37 pit bulls, and that's not always the case, right? And there's nothing wrong with 37 pit bulls, by the way, but everyone always thinks that that's the case, and there's a sad story and a problem, and it's never going to work. And sometimes you're right. But most of the time, it's the fact that they don't even understand what they can buy or what they can do, right? They don't know that you don't need 20% down to buy a house anymore. Not many people do. You'd be surprised how little amount of people know that you can buy something with 0, 3, 3.5, or 5% down, which very often is cheaper than what you're paying to get into a lease, right? If you've rented something recently, think about it, right? Very often you have to do first month, last month, double security, pet deposit for each pet that's non-refundable, smoking deposit. You could spend 10, 15,000 to get into a rental, or you could spend 10 or 15,000 to get into a house. And a lot of people just don't know that, right? Then they think credit. Oh, I don't have 700 or 750 credit, so I can't get into anything. You don't need it, right? FHA publicly will easily take 600 credit score. I don't want to say easily because that's probably not fair, but you can do FHA deals with 600 credit score all day. You can actually do them with 580 now, right? So there's opportunities out there for people that have credit challenges that we can overcome for sure. Right. So I definitely want to think about that. Scott said, do we have that 40x grader on Landcastle? No, it's actually from Keeping Current Matters. So I subscribe to something called Keeping Current Matters. And I want you to think about this net worth thing, right? So every month, Keeping Current Matters does this, and usually every year, Forbes and NAR does this, and it shows what they determine renter versus homeowner net worth to be. So they'll say the average renter has a net worth of 6,300. Which is usually, I mean, it's always no asset or no equity in a home, right? It's other assets. So it might be value in their car or jewelry, or maybe just they have the money that they have is the double security in the last month's rent, right? That is where their value is. Or when you look at a homeowner net worth, 40 times greater, usually above 250,000 between equity in their home plus other assets or other things that they're paying down. So a lot of times the net worth conversation is good. The other thing is that a lot of people just don't know that very often in Florida, someone can buy the exact same place that they're living and spend up to 40% less. And I know that's different all over the state. And even when prices are high now, though, guess what? When prices go up and fees go up and bills go up and payments go up and insurance goes up, so does rent, guys. Rent is not cheaper, especially in Florida, where we're a super transient state. And over the last 2 years, we've been one of the most popular states to move to because we really have no restrictions, right? It's like the Wild West here. You can do whatever the heck you want in Florida. So a lot of people don't understand that they could buy the same spot, maybe even the spot that they're living in, and pay 40% cheaper. They just don't know. So it's our job to get out there and convert these renters and help them. And they're everywhere, right? If you drive around a little bit, anywhere you drive now, you will see a current or a new human storage unit going up. They are there, right? They are absolutely everywhere. We just need to find them and play some offense. Then I want you to think about sellers, right? Let's talk about 3 unique ways to prospect for sellers. Hopefully you guys got at least one of those buyer ideas that you're going to put into action. Let's talk sellers now, because this is the market we want to be in right now, right? So when we talk sellers, unique idea number 1 is working the downsizers. And I want you to just ask yourself these 2 questions and who you know that fit into them. Number 1, who's ready to retire? And number 2, who do you know that has too much space? So let's think of the retirement one first, right? If you know any financial planners, if you have anybody that's good with money, bankers, stockbrokers, investment people, any of those things in your database, we need to reach out to them. And if you don't, your homework is to go add one to your database as soon as possible. But if you don't, you need to think and ask them who they know that's ready to retire. Because any halfway decent financial planner, the first question that they ask is, how long do you want to work? Or when do you retire? When do you want to retire? When do you plan on retiring? When can you retire? Right? They ask you that question and everybody gives them an age. And they usually say, all right, let's see if the finances can work. So let's say they wanted to retire in 2025, right? And they look at that and they say, okay, based on the country's inflation curve and equity curve rising, the country, the United States, says the target is that inflation and all those fun things, appreciation, are going to be roughly 2% a year. That's their target, right? When we were in the Depression, like in 7, 8, 9, 10, we weren't even close, right? We weren't even at half. It was actually negative most of the time. And now over the last couple of years, that 2% is a joke, right? We have most markets in Florida going up by 7% annually. There have been a lot that have been 10, 12, and I've even been hearing some 15%ers. So when we look at this, the people that were planned to retire in 2025, based on the last 5 years, they needed 2 or 3% of an equity appreciation or inflation or anything like that to drive up. Guess what? Over the last couple of years, they've gotten double, triple, sometimes 5 times the expected growth. So if their retirement was set for 2025, their expectations have been met. They're there. Their equity's there. Their cash out money's there. They're ready to go. So we need to find these people that are ready to retire or should retire now and take advantage, because who knows if they wait 2 more years or 3 more years because the number on the paper says 2025, what if the market falls off or flattens off, right? Waiting 3 years could cost them 5 or 10. We want to make sure they're not stuck in there, right? We can help these people. Then I want you to think about who has too much space. This is my parents, and I argue with them every day trying to get them out of their house. And if any of you have parents that are in this situation, fight them, right? Think about who has too much space. Who has the 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 bedroom house that's way too big, that it's just 2 of them? Who has their kids that are out? Who's seen on Facebook their friends that say, oh, little Johnny just got his first job and he's off. He's out of the house. Now it's just me and whatever alone at home. Right? Or the daughter or the son, or somebody just got engaged, so they're moving out, or someone just got their first big boy or big girl job, so they're out, right? Think about who these people are. And sure, let's congratulate them on their kids' engagement and getting jobs and blah, blah, blah. But use this as a social cue to realize this person bought that house 15 years ago because their kids were in. Well, guess what? Their kids are done with school. It's time for them to get out. These houses are the ones that are in the highest demand, right? Those big 4, 5, 6 bedroom houses. They are not coming on the market. And when they do, guess what? They are sold in what? An hour, maybe 15 minutes with multiple offers above list price. We want title on these and you guys want commission on these, right? It's a no-brainer. They're super easy to do. And it's like printing money. So let's find the downsizers, right? If you're not already on Title Pro, we can get you on there and you can find the people that are in those houses that are just too big for them. But just use your database, use your social cues, use the people that you know, that your parents know, that your friends know, that are done, that are just not needing to work anymore, or that are not needing the space anymore, that their kids are out. If you're younger, if you're my age, ask your friends, who they know that their parents should be selling their house, right? Or who they know that has brothers and sisters that everybody's out of the house. And if you're that age, think about it for yourself first, right? Is it time for me to get out? And if not, think about your friends. Think about who you know, who's in your network, who's in your database that's ready to downsize. Number two, let's help those in forbearance, right? We've talked about this ad nauseum for, I don't know, a year now, right? And whatever you think about the government or the politics or the COVID or whatever, I don't really care, to be honest with you, but I just want you to understand the opportunity that is in front of us, right? So there have been people that haven't paid their bills in a year, 18 months, 2 years, whatever it is. And if it's any of you, I'm sorry, but I want you to look at what's happened, right? The government told the banks, listen, you have to allow these people the ability to stay alive, to stay in their home. Don't make them pay if they make an effort, right? If they communicate and tell you they can't pay, don't fight, put them in forbearance. And you're not allowed to destroy their credit, right? This has been the case for a year, 18 months, 2 years. Guess what? In October, they started saying that's enough. It's time for people to pay their bills. It's time for people to work. It's time for people to go back to living a normal life, right? And for some of us that never changed, and for some of us we've taken off, and I'm sure we all know somebody on either end and somebody in between. But the banks, I have to say, regardless of what you think of big banks or big money or whatever, they've done the right thing, right? They have not dinged people's credit. They haven't screwed them to the point where they can't buy again, they can't sell again. They've done the right thing, but they're all kind of at that breaking point now where they're saying, all right, enough is enough. Right, we got to get going. So here's what's happening. And we had someone in the class the other day that was like this, and confirmed it because she did it herself as well. But these are coming up all over the place. We're seeing it literally every day now. Here's what's happening. Someone says, you know what? I'm ready. I'm ready to pay my bills again. I'm ready to get back into action. I'm working. I'm healthy. I'm safe. I'm over COVID, whatever. So they call their bank, their primary service provider, and say, hey, I know I haven't paid in 18 months. Book me down for a payment on November 1st. I'm good to go. I got this. Let's get this thing reinstated. And the bank says, no problem. You missed 18 payments. We're going to take those 18 payments. We're going to stick them on the back of the loan. Homeowner says, great, thanks. What do I have to do? And the bank says, well, here's the catch, right? In those 18 months, they didn't make a payment. You also missed your property taxes and you missed your insurance. So we had to pay them for you. No big deal, but you have two options. You could either write us a check for 18 grand or whatever your taxes and insurance are monthly, 1,000 a month, 500 a month. Let's just say 10 grand. You could write us a check for 10 grand and we're caught up. Your escrow shortage is good, no problems. Or you have to add $1,000 a month to your payment for the next 10 months so that you're caught up on escrow, because we can't be behind on escrow. The escrow has to be in the black. It has to be positive all the time. It can't be negative. And 97 or 98% of America can't do that, right? They don't have the 10 or 12 or 18,000 to just write the check. And they can't take those payments up because their payment now is right what they can afford. They can't pay what they can afford plus 1,000. They just can't do it. So the bank says, well, sorry, let us know what you want to do in the next 30 days. Those are your options, right? So then they call their favorite mortgage professional, or maybe they reach out to you for a referral and you hook them up with a referral and you have the best lender, call them. And your lender says, hey, thanks so much. Ryan referred me. I know you're looking to do a refi. Just got to get some basic information. What's your name? What's your address? What's your social? Great. Awesome. And you want to do a refi? Yeah. Just rate and term. Perfect. No cash out, nothing. Awesome. Great. All right. I just need you to send me the last 2 years of your payments. And they say, well, I haven't made any payments. The lender says, well, I'm sorry. Can't do a refi, right? If you haven't paid in 2 years, if you missed one payment in 2 years, can't do a refi. If you were late one time in 2 years, you sometimes can refi, but other than that, you can't. So the lender says, sorry, nothing we can do, right? No options. So what happens? They come back to us and we have to sell their house. And it's good news, bad news, right? Because they don't want to get out of the house, but we have to sell the house. And when they sell it, it's not 2008, 9, 10, 11. They sell and guess what? They're out. They end up in the black. It's positive. They have cash, right? They have a pile of cash. They might be homeless, but they have a pile of cash. They can Airbnb surf or live on their sister or friend or mom or dad's couch or whatever. And 3 days later, once the house sells and all the recording is done, guess what? They're back in your car as a buyer because the banks are holding true to the fact that they are not going to crush your credit if you're in forbearance, especially if you settle, right? If you pay that mortgage off and you move out, you're good. So they're going to be back in your car with unaffected credit. They're back to work and they have a pile of cash. They're going to be a solid buyer. So these people are solid sellers and solid buyers. Now, here's the thing. Everyone always sends me a message after the class. Where do I get the list? How can I get the list? I don't want to do any work. I need the list. Not that easy, right? Because this is private financial information that hasn't been settled and hasn't been acted on. So the list is not available. Can't buy it. Can't find it. Can't call someone and get it. Can't pay for it, right? This is private information. Until there's a lis pendens where the bank says, enough is enough. We're posting something on the door. It's time for these people to get out. Until the bank does that, that information is private. So you have to do some work for it, right? We need to run ads. We need to do videos. We need to call our database and ask. We need to do word of mouth. We need to do smoke signals or send pigeons, whatever we need to do. But we need to find out who's missed a mortgage payment, who's been unable to refi, and who we can help. And there are still, the last number I heard was that 9% of the mortgages in Florida are in forbearance as of October. 9%. Now that might not sound like a lot, but that's many millions of people in our state. So there's a ton of opportunity here, and they can get out, right? We need to help them get out while they can without being dinged, because there is going to be a point where the credit shifts back on, right? And they're going to be behind. And guess what? Escrow is already coming to the point where they're like, enough, we can't be this far behind on escrow. We're 10, 12, 15, 18, $20,000 per house that's in forbearance. 20,000 a house times 9% of Florida is a lot. Literally billions of dollars behind an escrow. They got to start digging out, and they're starting to do that now. It's already starting to happen. So we have an opportunity here. And the number 3 is with circle prospecting, right? It's no coincidence. It's not the craziest coincidence on the history of the planet that when one person on your street decides they're going to sell, another house pops up for sale within a week. That is not coincidence or the stars lining up. Okay. That's because when Joe Smith decides to sell at 123 Main Street, and Betty Smith knows how her house has a newer roof and better appliances and better granite and a new floor and looks nicer, she wants to sell too, because she knows she's going to get more than Johnny. So they're going to list. What most realtors do is we sit back and we're reactive instead of being proactive. We see it, and then we get mad at both of those people because they know we're realtors and they didn't ask us, right? Or we didn't get the listing. But we need to think about how we get on offense. How do we get proactive so that we can go and get these things? And circle prospecting is the way to do it. Anytime one of these 5 things on the screen happens, you need to be making a phone call if you are one of those people that wants to prospect to get new business. So if you, your team, your office, your farm area, your broker, whatever, has a listing, a price improvement, an open house, and under contract, or a house being sold, we need to get on the phone. We need to go hit these people. We need to find out who is actually ready to be a deal. It's one of those things that this is probably the least fun of all the prospecting strategies we talked about. I get it, but this is also the one that is just bringing the most money, right? It's giving the most opportunity, because these people just don't know what they don't know yet. And as soon as they see the house down the street ready to go, or as soon as the right person helps guide them into the sale, they are a deal. So when we talk about all different strategies for prospecting, right? On the buyer side, we talked about the move up buyers, talked about the FSBO open houses. We talked about converting renters. And then on the seller side, we talked about finding the downsizers. We talked about helping the people that are in forbearance. And we talked about circle prospecting. If you liked this content or this kind of class, get with Cindy and Kent and make me do it in person, because the full version of this class is 10 tips for buyers, 10 tips for sellers, and then a little bonus one that will help you guys get out there and prospect for some new business. And when we're building our business plan for next year, if you haven't done that already with us, of course, get in that class when we're going to do it. Make sure you're there. But if you haven't done that with us already, I just want you to be okay with the fact that prospecting has to be on there somewhere. If you want to make money now, if you're on this call and you want to make money in the next 90 days, you need to have some prospecting sources in your business plan, period, because these are the way that we're going to experimentally dig and find new deals, right? And find new opportunity. If you want the replay, I will get it to Cindy and Kent as early as possible. So reach out to them and we will get it out to you guys. As always, thank you for your business at Professional. We surely appreciate it. Carrie, thank you as always for making the slides and everything look nice. Coming up 1 week from today, next Monday, same time on Zoom, we are doing the 3 quick and easy videos you need to make for your business before the end of the year. This doesn't matter if you have no equipment, no money, no talent, no lipstick, no hairdo. It doesn't matter. These are 3 videos that you should be creating before the end of the year to help you be successful for next year. I'm going to give you the examples. I'm actually going to film all 3 videos and show them to you. And we're going to do a breakdown of what to have in the video, why to do it, and why it works. So if you're looking for something that's free, fun, and necessary for your business for next year, get with us and get to this class next Monday. Until we meet again, my contact info is on the right, email at the top, then Facebook, then Instagram. If you're not already in the private Facebook group for whatever reason, search Ryan McHugh, Real Estate Trainer, Inner Circle. And that guy coming after you in the middle of the night is me. if you don't put any of this into action, get out there and do some prospecting. And if you have any questions, I will hang on for a couple of minutes. And if not, thank you all for being on. Have a great day.